All right, well, I don't know if we're going to get a few more people logging in or not, but we might as well get started here. A couple of bits of, club news kind of things, and we are in the middle of our 2024 member survey. I'm assuming that a lot of people here have already filled out that survey. If you haven't, I would encourage you please to go and take care of it. We will be closing it out at midnight on Friday. The form will automatically stop accepting new entries. And I will be sending an email out either this evening or first thing in the morning to give you that link again. And also we've gotten a few questions on the survey from people, and I just want to answer a couple of them. So I'm going to put that all into an email and send that out and just remind everybody to get in there and voice their opinion so we can figure out what we can do best in the next year or two to make this the best club in Denver. Our upcoming meetings, we've got October 9th, presentation from Richard Lewis on what is photography. Again, it's going to be one of those, instead of particular, techniques on how to shoot something or where to shoot something, it's going to be about the why to shoot, which is something that I think all of us need reminders of every once in a while. I know I do. We get stuck with either in the same genre or we get stuck with, I don't know what to go out and shoot, and being reminded of the why of photography. I think anybody who attended the presentation from Stephanie, I think that's a motivator. In fact, we see a couple images tonight where people utilize ICM techniques. And then our competition next month would be shallow depth of field. And in the September newsletter, there were some links and tutorials and information about achieving shallow depth of field and maximizing it. For those of you who have not delved into that quite yet, we do have one guest I see this evening. Barbara has joined us again from Alabama.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Very glad to have you here again.
I have been traveling, so I had intended to send in my application, but I knew I needed to send in photos, and I didn't have my computer with me, so I'll probably be doing that either tonight or tomorrow. So I'll start that process.
Well, photos could be the last thing you do. We're really more interested in your money.
Got it. Got it.
Send in the money. Let's get that money thing out of the way.
All right.
And be sure to send in that membership form so we have all your information.
Will do.
Then we can worry about the pictures. So.
Okay. Sounds good.
We'll be glad to have you as part of our group. Thank you, Barbara.
I appreciate it.
Sure. All right. So this evening, our topic was complementary colors. So we wanted everybody to find pairs of colors that are opposite to each other on the color wheel and use them in a photo to create a visually striking image that showcases their relationship. And we said whether you find scenes in the real world or create something using lighting, strobes, gel, and colored backgrounds, the choice is yours. And most people chose to do some real world stuff, although we have a good variety tonight. So our judge for this evening is Joseph Roybal. Joseph has judged for us a few times before and also given a presentation for us. A little about him. He is a professional photographer, and from Colorado's peaks, Patagonia's glacial bays to Iceland's rugged coastline, Joseph loves nothing more than being in the field and traveling the globe, searching for dramatic landscapes and gorgeous light. He is a full-time professional landscape and travel photographer based in Denver, and he hopes his passion for exploring will inspire others behind the lens in their creative pursuits. An instructor at heart, Joseph is also passionate about working with individuals in the field and the classroom, sharing his techniques to unlock the Rubik's Cube of landscape photography, making it a fun and creative process. When not in the field, Joseph can be found mountain biking, seeking out the best cheeseburger in town, and also has a pet betta fish named Ms. Betta Fett. You can find Joseph at his website at josephroybal.com. And he also has a page on the menschworkshops.com. I probably butchered that name. I don't know how it's pronounced. Mensch Munch.
You did a
Uh,
good job, Carl.
Thank you. Is there anything you want to add or anything you want to discuss about your type or style of judging?
Uh, no, not so much. I mean, I was going to say thanks for having me on, Carl. You know, reaching out as you do. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you guys. Um, and what I loved about tonight's theme is just, you know, a lot of times there's a lot of different themes that kind of come through and that I think a lot of you were kind of like put up to the test or the challenge to go out and accomplish. But color theory and color is just a huge one and it's tough. I will say I went through the photographs and they were striking, really, really arresting images. I love them. So it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, just a landscape photographer. When animals get into my shot, I call them critterscapes. I'm not really much of a wildlife shooter, but I do love it. And I do love to teach. And so that's what I do a lot with Munch workshops is I do workshops all over the globe, really, with them full time. I'm gone about 6 months out of the year. But so all the shooting in the field and then being here tonight looking at your images and going through this tonight is I was really excited when Carl you asked for tonight's theme and to kind of step in.
All right. Well,
But
if we are all ready to go, I will ask that
yeah,
everybody mute, please, except for Joseph, of course, so that we can hear his commentary without interruption. And Bob, if you're ready.
and
Yeah,
then
Bob,
Carl, as I go, and so for everyone here too, I'm going to have your images up just so I can kind of have a look at them.
correct.
And then on my screen, and they'll look a lot better over here. So I can
Right.
really see what they look like.
Right. That's part of the reason that we show this calibration image here. You know, if people look at it and think to themselves, well, it looks a little flat, it looks a little off, it's a little yellow, it's a little whatever. Just know that that's zoom. It is not perfect.
Right.
It's not bad, but it's not perfect. So yeah, that's part of the reason. Since we do zoom all the time, we routinely and have been for years, sending the judge the images so they have them available and they're seeing the full quality, not just the zoom. So Bob will show the images. I'll read the title, and then Joseph will go to you for your commentary and scoring. So this is
Okay, sounds great.
tomato stubble.
Yeah. So looking at this, the details when I was looking at this earlier, obviously kind of for the colors, the complementary on the sliders, if you will, or on the color wheel. Um, I love reds and greens. We get them so often in nature. Uh, and the detail of this, pretty detailed. One of the things that I noticed was kind of on the little green bits. It looked a little bit like there was some, I want to say like maybe focus stacking that got a little off on a couple little areas, like on the closest little green towards the bottom of the screen on the photo. It's like there's a little bit of kind of like some like blurry portions of it in the red on the tomato skin. Just noticing that, just little things, but that's like I'm wondering if this photograph was like a helicon or something of the sorts, focus stack. So so I guess I was thinking with the pros and the cons of that. I love the detail. I love the, kind of the intimacy of it, just really looking at that. Kind of some technical little kind of anomalies, I would say. I would say it's a 7 on that, just because the technical bits. But I wanted to explain as to why I thought of that.
And I'll jump in and
Is that
just
okay?
say this because I have notes on that image. That was a focus stack of 16 images.
And so like great job to the photographer for taking such efforts and to really put that together. It's those little things that like some of the like either Photoshop messes up or helicon might not catch properly,
Right.
where the little things get out kind of off.
This is the end of Land and Light.
Oh yeah, super sharp. I love all the layers, and obviously when talking color, when you have kind of these opposings, um, the orange with the blue, really nice. And really, I love all the layers with the clouds. Also, the crop. I applaud the photographer for taking into consideration to crop this more into a panoramic or either shoot a panoramic and kind of omit a bit of sky. Um, and then, the fact that it's a bit of a silhouette, yet there's still detail and visible context and, detail, I guess, in the ocean, in the water. So I would just love to know where this photograph is taken at some point, just because it's a beautiful scene. I mean, technically, it's sharp, it's clean. I can't really see anything there to say that it would be, anything on the technical side. Um, I would say, I'd probably say an 8.
Hard Hat Falling.
I This one was fun. I remember looking at this and thinking, that's a really clever way to kind of put this together. So I like, again, it's the complementary colors, red and green. Um, what I might say is like just to draw a little more attention to the hard hat is just a vignette around the edges so the eye doesn't go trail away. And that's kind of thinking about many of our photographs to keep the viewer's eye in the scene, into the center of the frame. But I like the kind of just the three elements within the frame. And I would probably say this is an 8 though. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of kind of some of the other photos that but I like this.
This would be Island Sunrise.
This photograph, absolutely stunning. Just I love the composition of it, the leading in of the boardwalk, the sunset where it's at, the verga, the clouds, the layers, the colors. Um, Everything to me looked really nice when I was examining it and looking at it again a bit here, deeper. Great job to the photographer. And uh, and again, I love that it's just kind of a panoramic because it isolates, sometimes it's easy to want to just include more sky, especially when we have a really great sky, but it can be more impactful to omit a little bit or crop a little bit of it away. Many things that can be said for, but this is great. I was going to say this was a 10.
Bob, according to my list, there should have been a different image before Island Sunrise. All right, we'll just continue on and hopefully it's somewhere else in the mix and we'll come back to it.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
perfect.
this is time for a drink.
The detail and the clarity of this, just the perfect reflection. Um, Really an awesome shot. Really an awesome shot. Talking about the strengths of it, it's sharp. I like the positioning of the B here. I just like the cropping. I like everything about it, the intimacy of it. What I would say is it's a little bit too sharp. It's a little over sharpened, and you can see that if zooming in kind of like on the antenna or the antennae there, you can kind of see the haloing. And so on a technical side of composition and such, I love it. And I mean, great job to the photographer kind of getting this. What I would say though, on the other side of that is to just be careful with these kind of like when it comes to sharpening, it can go a little too far and then you get these halos. And this is where I would just pull back on saying something like a 10. I would just say this would be a little more like a 9 because of that. But I feel like sharp dialing back that could make it just so much stronger. And then even maybe of a little stronger of a vignette, perhaps, just to make those edges a little darker. But a really great shot, beautiful.
Columbine color harmony.
Yeah, really nice shot. Really nice photograph. Going to it on my screen. The isolation, the trio of the three Columbine, really nice. And then the fact that they're set against a dark background to really make them stand out and pop. What I would say is they are a little bit, and I'm looking at them even on my screen here, the file, the more high res file. There's a little bit of color noise in the petals. They're a little soft. It looks like it's like maybe like enlarged a bit, too much, or I'm not exactly sure. But something's just kind of like there's just kind of some reds and the greens in the petals, kind of making things look a little color off. So, but I love this color when you talk about yellows, like the golds, the whites, the purples, kind of just everything. When you think of the colors on this on the wheel, there's a lot of color in here. I would put this just because of the technical side of things, the what I commented on detracting from, I would put this probably more um like an 8. But it's a really beautiful shot.
Approaching storm front and evening.
I'm assuming that these are the Badlands in South Dakota, which I have a soft spot for. I love the Badlands. Um, and then looking out off into the distance. I love just the stormy light off in the distance, and then this nice side lighting, kind of like looking sunsetish. Um, and then in this photograph, all the different colors, but the complementaries and the opposings that work so well. You've got the greens, the blues, the reds. What I was thinking on here when looking at this image was it to me looked maybe a little again kind of like on the sharpening contrast or clarity perhaps. Um, I just tend to see a lot of images get a lot of clarity pushed on them, and that I could be wrong with, but it looks a little bit like that to me. And for me, I really like when images kind of just have that more soft kind of natural approach, which I feel like happens off in the distance. It's more like here up close. So I look at this and I'm looking at the scale here, Carl. I'm just thinking like, like an 8 or a 9 because it's a really nice shot. Um, I know it is. I love it.
Yeah, we don't do 8.5, so you got to pick one.
I know. And I'm such a half person all the time, and then if I have a half, then I'm a 3/4 person. I would say a 9 because it is a beautiful shot. And just saying like, dialing back a little bit of that contrast or the clarity kind of on that foreground would really kind of soften up that look.
Reflections.
I always love these images that are kind of reflection, the inverse of, kind of our natural world. And that the photographer put the grasses in the foreground here, kind of coming in from the bottom of the frame. I did appreciate that because it gives a sense to kind of what's going on. So you're not just thinking it's flipped. Um, Really, really nice choice kind of a scene to kind of show all these different colors that work so well together. What I might say is the little almost like pine in the center. If there were a vignette kind of tossed on this image, it might make that guy stand out a little bit more because it kind of, being that it's right in the center, standing upright, my eye kind of goes to it. So just thinking on that a little bit. But again, I love that there's so many of these kind of panoramics that you all are putting into the mix here, because that's just really stating that you or asserting that you are considering what's not relevant in a photograph or what you want to make more relevant. But really beautiful shot. What I might say a little bit with the grasses is that some of them are kind of going into some of the other parts of the frame, or the trees in the distance, kind of like intersecting some lines in there. I like the near far, and I would say an 8 on this one, just for the little things that kind of like thinking about it. But but a, but a beautiful shot.
Deco Starship.
this photo is wild because it looks to me like it's kind of images on images a little bit, the way that they kind of look overlaid. And I was looking at that earlier, trying to figure it out, I guess, a little bit. Um, cool. I mean, really great colors. Everyone's really doing such a great job with hitting this color palette. Um, and then kind of taking that and going a little bit further and adding in more and doing more of these triadics and some of these splits. It's really pretty great. Um, I really like this image. I would say 9 because I like what the photographer has done on the overlays and kind of like the two frames on each other. But because it's kind of to me looks a little bit like photo on photo, I don't really have a lot of like commentary of like technical stuffs. It's just a creative shot.
Dick crayons. Or excuse me,
I
Doc.
yes, deck crayons. I love this shot. I love it. And I love that everything is so dark around them and they just pop. Like really, I don't know. For whatever reason, like, it's so simple, it's clean. I love just the dodging, the burning, like what stands out. Um, I want to go sit there right now. It just looks awesome. You know, I was thinking of this for me for like a 10 because of just the way it kind of takes you away. And like I said, it makes me want to go and sit there. Uh, and everything's so colorful and it just pops. I love this photo.
Sayulita Shop.
Oh yeah, beautiful photograph. All the colors, like all the colors. Talk about a colorful photograph. It's got so much going on, which is a great thing. And then looking at it a little bit, I know it's like a travel photo. So that's what I love about this. What I would say, just kind of some of the things that caught my eye, and it's a little hard to see. And so if it just happened to be the photo that came through, um, just some minor color fringing on this, on these bright areas against a darker area behind. So kind of the yellows with the green behind it, they kind of have a little bit of color fringing on them, some like magenta. Some of the seashells have a little bit of purpling against on them, kind of towards the bottom against the green wall. Uh, so the like that on the technical side are the things that catch my eye, just to be really cognizant of. But other than that, like when you're thinking about hitting all the marks for the colors, I would say this one is an 8.
Blue compliment me.
A beautiful shot. The lighting, everything about this. I gave this one a 10 right when I saw it. I loved it. Sharp where it needs to be, soft and just gentle where it doesn't. And then, the lighting, just a beautiful, beautiful photograph. And colors, this one here. What's funny, so when you asked me, Carl, earlier, like when it comes to like judging of the things that I look for, whenever I'm editing, oftentimes I'll kind of introduce a little bit of violets into shadows to make the shadows a little softer so they're not so gray, or blue. Uh, but what I loved about this here was more of taking, instead of in the shadows having the violet or the blues, that color there, but having it be against this warm light and being the focal point, and then the vase being kind of on the gold. It was just a beautiful shot.
Dichromatic tiles.
Yeah. So this is where I was thinking earlier, someone, taking the ideas of the color wheel and introducing a lot of different, but of the same kind of color, but just different tones, different hues of it. Uh, this is a really fun shot to look at. I mean, when it comes to saying like anything that could be done differently, better, no, it's a great photo. It's fun. I guess I'm thinking of the photograph that I just looked at and thinking that's a 10. But looking at this one here and thinking it's got everything there. It just doesn't hit me as hard as maybe the previous one. So I would say this one would be a 9, but not for anything against technical or whatnot. It's more of just the way that it's kind of maybe a lot of greens, a lot of reds, which is fine.
This is float for a crabbing ring. And I will mention just one thing that, we, in the past competition years ago, we did by group, and then we were comparing images against each other because we had first, second, and third place. Right now, we do a random sort, and each image is judged on its own, not necessarily compared to one another. I understand what you're saying about this one hit me, but this one didn't. But just be cognizant is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Comparing one to another.
then okay, that's fair. And I recall us talking about that the other day, and then not having there be like different levels and such.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And then, I
Thank you.
mean, yeah, of course, Carl. And I could always go back and like the diachromatics, like could say that that's a great shot, and I could give that a 10 if that makes it be a bit more level.
You're the judge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great shot. So, like, if like that one there, the dichromatics, if you wanted to give that one a 10, you could definitely do it because I'm not wanting to, like you mentioned, compare them to the others.
All right. If that's what you prefer to do, I
Yep,
will.
go for it. Go for it. Yeah, those
Okay.
dichromatics. Give those a because it's a really cool shot. So detail, looking at this and then telling a story is another thing that I love about this. The color, the cork, the rope, just a nice shot. Um, I think a little bit is that it leaves me wanting maybe a little more. And I'm trying to think of like when I say more, just like maybe a little more of a vignette or because I guess my eye is going a little more towards just the center of the photograph, like kind of on the concrete there. Um, so I'm trying to think of how to like kind of make this stand out a bit, but I appreciate the just kind of the shapes, the patterns here, the colors. Um, I would give this a 7. I feel just it's not containing like say major flaws. It's more of just that I feel like I want to see a little bit more on this photograph or have it be a little bit different on like standing out. Like I said, maybe a little more of like a little darker in the center of the frame so the rope and everything stands out a little differently. My eye kind of goes right to the center.
Okay. This is Elkton Countryside.
Beautiful photograph. And then again, the reds and the greens just nailed it with that. Um, what I might mention, just my eye goes behind the barn to the upper left onto the hillside there. It's just a little bit on, it's a little bit brighter, so my eye kind of gets pulled away. And that tends to happen obviously easily. So I was thinking, on this one, if it were darkened a little bit back there a little more to make the barn stand out a bit more and or brighten luminance on kind of like the face that's facing me to make it stand out a little bit more there to kind of give that perceptive dodge and burn. Um, and but technically the leading line for the driveway coming in offsets kind of negative space, really nice image, just some of these little small things, great cropping. I would say a 9 on this just because I really can see a lot went into this kind of placing and colors and effort with that. It's a really nice shot.
All right. Into the winter sun. And after this image, we'll stop and pause a bit and go back and talk to the people who got the 9s and 10s.
Oh, cool. Yeah, perfect. Really a cool shot, especially because you've got the goal here, but then I'm just drawing a blank on the name behind it, in the middle. But I love just like kind of like the contrast of the white and then the dark. You've got the orange beak, the golden sunlight, a lot of color going on here. And then also nailed for, spot on for the sharpness on the eye. Really a nice image. Again, I was thinking like here we've got 3. For me, I guess it's not so much that there's anything technical on it. And it's great with the colors. It's really great. I would say an 8 for this guy. but a really nice photograph.
All right, we're going back to Island Sunrise from David Bessem. David's not here tonight. He decided that going to a barbecue was more important than joining our meeting.
Well, if there's cheeseburgers there.
Exactly, yep. He did make note when he submitted the image that this was taken shortly after sunrise on Ambergris Caye in Belize.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep. The time for a drink. This is from Dan Greenberg.
Okay, this one I have a pet bee of the same kind, and I mounted one of those little kind of cameras they use for colonoscopies on him, and he was flying around and he over where his watering hole that he likes to go to, and took this picture of one of his friends. No, actually, this isn't a bird bath, and it really was like a bee watering hole, and I just did this with a really big lens, stuff like that, and I do kind of agree that it is. I was worried I might have over sharpened it a little bit because it was already like super sharp to start with. But anyway, thank you very much, and I appreciate your comments.
So wait, so the story that you told about the little bee flying with the camera, that was just made up?
Yeah, that was just me lying. But
that's quite the elaborate story to come up with.
yeah, and I was working on it just in case I accidentally got a 9 or a 10 to, but no, it was just basically a very, very nice lens and handheld at like 500 millimeters and like 140. Not a very fast picture, but a very, very good thing. And the only thing that was really hard about this picture is that it was hard, just like shooting like cranes or something like that. It was like zillions of them, and they're all lined up and getting in the way of each other. So trying to get one separate like this was kind of a trick.
Yeah. Well, nice work. And as you saw, and it kind of like now thinking back, like out of the camera might have been just fine for the sharpness.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that little side story here. I'm sorry I have to interject, but it got a 9. But Dan and I have an agreement. Dan and I share the same camera system, and usually I borrow his very expensive lenses. But in this case, I rented a almost $8,000 lens for 4 days to shoot some. Anyway, I rented this lens because I was going to shoot some, what do I only shoot? Jets, military aircraft. But Dan borrowed it for the day. Dan borrowed it for the day, and we agreed that if he got a 10, we would have to split the points between, so he got a 9, 3 points for Dan, 3 points for Todd, and 3 points go to lensrentals.com.
Okay. Well,
All right. Well, thank you, boys. It's
yeah.
nice to know that we have Todd and Dan are like our own Evan Costello routine here.
That's great.
But also, one thing I wanted to mention about this image, when I first saw it, when it was first submitted, I went and looked at the metadata for it, and I noticed that it was shot with a 100 to 400 lens. And the main reason that I looked at that is because I was thinking about the competition next month, which is shallow depth of field. And this just goes to show you that, with the right lens and the right distance and the right aperture, even a big old telephoto can get you shallow depth of field.
Hey,
Oh, absolutely.
Carl, it's a 150 to 400, but our sensor's a 2x crop. So it's actually a 300 to 800.
800, yeah.
On ours, and we were adding teleconverters on top of that just to get nutty.
Oh, wow.
Man.
I love it. Anyways, stunning image. Now, this is Approaching Storm Front and Evening from Terry Hanford.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is at the Badlands National Park. And I'll have to look at it again. Maybe it did get a little too crispy in the foreground. But I did love the bluish black sky that was coming across from the south, almost like a curtain. And it almost looked unreal to me, both when I was there and then when I looked at the picture. And then it was about 6 p.m. at night, So the sun was starting to get a bit long. And so you have these two different types of light colliding here. I just thought it was so great. I did try to get some of the expansiveness in, but as I look at it here, I think if I go back and redo it, I'll probably crop it in a little bit tighter and give that mound a little more of the landscape there. But thank you for your comments.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's a beautiful photo because, like looking at this photo, knowing the Badlands, knowing the storms that go through there, I mean, it's just a dramatic, it's pretty raw, pretty real. And you can see that with this image. You get those storm fronts. And so, yeah, nice work. And cool that you've been there too. I guess just it's a beautiful area. So yeah, try that. Just try a couple things and check that kind of like the what is it? Oh gosh, clarity. If that was it, or the texture, kind of just check some of those.
But I'd also like to check is the best cheeseburger in town. So let us know before you sign out today.
Okay, I can give a couple thoughts. And then if there's anyone that kind of gives other thoughts, I mean, I'm ready to go.
All righty. Well, again, very nice image, Terry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Deco Starship. This is from Jim Meyerson.
Yeah, hey, thank you. Yeah, this is a multiple exposure done in camera. I got really inspired by the ICM presentation last week and just went out there and had some fun. I was actually sitting at the Denver Rock Show at a lecture, and it was kind of getting a little boring. So I looked up at the ceiling and saw the lights hanging from the ceiling and just did a multiple exposure of them.
Very cool. Yeah. Look at that. Creativity where it's born and bred. Yeah, that's amazing. Like when the presentations get a little long. No, really, and the way that this light that you have on the bottom, kind of the lower third, the lower right third on over there, or the quarter, I guess. Kind of in the corner, how you have it's almost like you have it coming down from the top, and then you have it kind of coming from the left, and they kind of converge right in that area. It just that's what I was kind of looking at and thinking that's a pretty cool, kind of setup.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a really interesting picture, Jim. Dot crayons from Steve Wilton.
Yeah, this is from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin this past summer. It's part of a tourist boat ride going around the lake. It's a big lake, and there were scores of these humongous summer homes by old Chicago money. And here's one of the docks there.
It's a cool photo. It really is.
Yeah, thank you very much for your observations there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, it was nice to see a color image from you.
Yeah, I'm half colorblind, so I was a wing and a prayer there.
No, you did well. You did well. Blue Compliment Me is from Ben Hernandez.
Yeah, this shot, I gotta say, I usually submit pictures, and I ended up saying that I just got lucky. I was at the right place at the right time. With this particular contest, I wanted to push myself and actually create something from scratch for the contest. And this is what it came out. Although I do have to say that I do love the black and white way better than the colored one.
I would love to see the black and white of this version because I could see how there's a lot of tonalities here that would work so well for that, the contrasts and such. And just one other thing, and you said your name's Ben?
Yes.
The way that if you notice here front to back, like I kind of just noticed this now as well, but I noticed it earlier, maybe subconsciously, but like how your shading and the shadows on the like near the camera are kind of like on the lower right up at a diagonal of a 45, and it's almost like in the background they're kind of like at an upper left out of the left corner at a diagonal, kind of layering as you go in. A really cool shot, but I'd love to see the black and white.
Yeah, I'll put it on the chat if that's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Congratulations, Ben. Another fine image from you. The dichromatic tiles is from Susan Hafke. And I don't think Susan is on this evening. She had written that this was part of a sculpture at the American History Museum in Washington, D.C. The photo was cropped and color enhanced. So
Very
again,
cool.
it's another photo of opportunity.
Yeah. And creativity too.
Yeah. And Elkton Countryside is from Gwen Patton.
Yeah, this was taken in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. And I agree with the comment about darkening those trees on the hillside.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. And so that's what I was thinking on is that, just everything kind of really works and lines up, and you've got this great negative space on the left and a lot of weight on the right. And so just to kind of balance that a little bit, and then that red, just have it pop too. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I did a lot of cropping on this. There was actually a fence right in front.
Well, good job. Seriously. Because a lot of
Thank you.
times it's like I said, it's so common that we always want to include everything, but it can make things a lot stronger when we, cut stuff out.
Thank you.
That was a great image, Gwen.
Thank you.
All right, we're back to the rest of the group here, and this is Last Moments of Light.
Colors, beautiful layers, Grand Canyon, just gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, so thinking on the compliments here of like the colors are just absolutely stunning. You've got sunset, probably sunset light, I would guess. And kind of pulling your eye in. What I would say, just kind of on the kind of technical bits here, and again, these images might get sent through a little small, so they end up becoming a little bit maybe more like contrasty or not contrasty, a little bit more kind of like textured, sharper. And it just looks at some areas here like it might be a little bit sharp. But that can easily be dialed back. That can also just be my copy. But the other bit I would say is there's opportunity here to work with these shadows and just kind of bring out a little more blacks to make, or a little more of contrast in the shadows to make the golds pop against it a little bit more, because it right here feels like that the lighting is really, really contrasty and, sharp. There's a lot of clarity, and then everything else is soft. So it's more of like maybe thinking on like either balancing that out by softening the lighting area or contrasting up the background area. But beautiful photograph. I would almost say like vignette it too. That might just be helpful, and focus the eye where you want it to go. An 8.
Complementary Colors by Mother Nature.
Beautiful. And it really is. Everything that we have in nature, the colors are there. No need to go adding like sometimes happens. Sharp, so much detail. And, looking at this, it's beautiful. Well done to the photographer for really capturing the essence of this. What I might say is the background could be darkened out a little bit, just so it's not so kind of pulling the eye away from the sunflower. But that, all things considered, it's a really nice shot. I would say a 10, because like I'm thinking about like how crisp and clean and colorful it is, and just minor little bits on that background. Minor quib.
This is Fire in the Hole.
Hearing that you had kind of an ICM discussion at some point, and then some like other photographers tonight talking about inspiration from that, I'm wondering if this might be also a little bit of that, where there's the inspiration to go out and create something a bit more abstract, which I love. There's interest, it's interesting. You got the colors, the blues, the yellows, kind of the opposing sides of it here, like a yin and a yang, kind of half and half. Really cool shot. I'm almost thinking like, just to keep my eye more in the center, it kind of is drifting out a little bit more of like a vignette possibly, would help dial my eye towards the center. But a 1-to-1, I'm pretty sure this is a 1-to-1. It looks like, yep, a 1-to-1 crop. Nice. An 8, because I feel that it has like a lot of really nice technical aspects to this.
And yeah, Joseph, 2 weeks ago, our program presentation for this month was on ICM photography. So that definitely was an ICM image.
Well, that's cool because that's getting, I mean, that's fun to hear for this. Probably the presenter, the speaker that gave that. There's now, there's images that are presented tonight as a result,
Right.
captured as a result.
This is relaxing by the pool at night.
Anyone here want to go there right now? Raise your hands.
All of us.
Yeah. I was looking at this and I was like, man, that's a cool area. I want to know where this is because that just looks cool. Colors, and then, the diminishing perspective here, going from close to, or near to far and everything kind of getting like pulled away. Beautiful, really cool shot. And it looks to me like there might be a little bit of kind of like lens blur put on this image here to kind of soften out the background, which I could be wrong, but it looks like there might be a little bit going from the farther little, I don't know what you'd call them specifically, little gazebos, but off into the distance. So I guess like for me, just thinking about how like I appreciate that, but it also makes me kind of like notice it is the only thing. Instead of it kind of just flowing off and being a little bit. So thinking a little on that, but I liked the symmetry. I really like the colors, the lighting. An 8 on this one.
A drowsy morning on purple prairie clover.
Stunning, so soft. This to me looks like an album cover of some musician or something. I mean, it's a beautiful photograph. When I saw this, I thought a 10 as well right away. It's just really soft, really sharp where it needs to be. The colors are just, it's just beautiful, really beautiful. Can't say enough about this photo. It's just stunning.
Purple pistol majesty.
Beautiful shot. And it's well done on the isolation there, making sure that the pistols are right there in the light. And then the colors too. Beautiful, beautiful colors here. For me, I feel it's a little soft, but knowing that that's an effect and an intentional effect on this. So I think almost just reducing that a little bit would just kind of make this be a bit more, I don't want to say approachable, but it would make it kind of be a little less dreamy. But again, it's a beautiful photograph, and I know that's an intentional approach to this. An 8.
Flying high.
I love this photograph. And just the layers, the composition of it, and where the plane is at, I guess in the upper third. I almost might say that it could be cropped in a little bit further on the upper left, kind of making the plane be a little higher in the sky, if you will. But wanting to retain a little bit of the kind of the canvas, I understand that. What I might notice, and it's again getting these on my screen, but it looks to me like there's a little bit of kind of dark and like reverse almost haloing like around the plane, like it's almost like clarity is kind of like reduced to soften it out, but at the same time not. So beautiful photograph, sharp, it's clear, it's clean, it's really crisp, and I'm saying 8 on this.
Ancient matriarchs.
Beautiful. Wow, I love these hoodoos like this, that when what we have, or when we find these, or wondering if this is in like New Mexico or where this might be. When I think about like color, it's great. Sharpness seems to be really nice. What I'd probably like to see here is a little more focus, like just on the hoodoos, but I don't know if a vignette would work on that. yeah, because at the bottom is a little bit dark already with the shadows, and so that could get maybe to be a lot, but maybe just a little bit of darkening on the sky, let's say a linear gradient. Sorry, I was just completely lost there with what I was trying to say, but like a linear grad, just kind of from the upper right down, um, could potentially help. But I really love the shot. An 8 on this one because it's just got a lot going.
Hallelujah.
A lot of colors, a lot of detail, a lot going on here when it comes to kind of like the theme. And it makes you think about getting stuck in that sort of a position if one were, obviously this is a roller coaster, so this would be a blast. How this is, to be there. I would say technically everything's there when it comes to, sharpness. Everything looks really great. Um, I would say too a little bit like when it comes to like subject and what to look at specifically, finding that as easily. But to say that obviously it's like to be looking at the writers, but maybe a vignette would help just kind of darken that out to focus the eye a little bit there. An 8.
Damn, now where'd my air hose go off to?
That's pretty funny. Great job on the colors and then introducing a third there with, I would say, like the yellow gold. And then I also like, the use of the slow shutter speed or intentional camera movement. Just a slow shutter there and moving the camera. Just kind of looking for, considering that the colors here are what we're partly going for, and then looking at the overall scene. I would say though that I would say an 8, and I know I've said a lot of 8s here because I just really look at these and I think they're really great shots.
This is Water Tower at Amachi.
Beautiful photo, and the lines and kind of the opposing lines. The cropping, just kind of everything, or everything is just so pretty on this with the whites, the golds, the blues, and the lines. I really loved this photograph. And the placement is just dead center too. So I was thinking of this being, just a 10 based on all the different kind of elements going into this, and lines being so straight, the symmetry in this one is what's really striking as well with the color.
Red light, green light.
Very cool. Thinking that at first I was kind of thinking like I didn't quite catch that right off the bat. Just the red light, green light, which that could be on me, but a cool photo for street photography. I really like that. And I like the effort and the attempt there with the red light, green light. Nice catch, nice eye. I guess I apologize that I didn't quite see the red and the green right off. I was more looking at the scene and then seeing the name. I would say an 8 because I really like the fact that it's like so much thought put into that.
Smorgasbord for the wildlife.
Great use of colors here. This image here, didn't find that it really pulled me in so much. Kind of a lot going on, I guess I would say. And naturally, that's kind of what is going on here. You got a lot of leaves, you got a lot of detail, you got a lot going on, but it didn't really get me looking at any one thing. It also was a little flat on the contrast bits, just a little soft. Kind of just a lot of chaos in this one to me personally. I kind of thought this would be more of like a 6.
Upon a red flower.
This photo here, great shot. Really, really nice, super sharp, really beautiful colors. All things considered, and I love the square format of it. Like just beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this, zooming in. Really nice sharpening and the details of it. A 10 on this because it's so nice. I would say just the photographer, like darkening that background maybe a tiny bit more. Just very little bit, just if that even. It's a beautiful photograph.
Okay, Bob, we still have one more, the missing image from before. Do you have that available?
I may have, I think I've seen it, but I'll have to reload it. Do you want to get comments from this first?
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and finish up with the 9s and 10s here. And then we can go grab that one image. This is from Todd Lytle.
Thank you. Appreciate the comment. Yeah, and I can see, yeah, I would definitely darken down the background a little bit. I think it would help. Some additional contrast would help. In late July, Brian Donovan called me and asked me if I wanted to go photograph the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds up in Cheyenne for around the celebration for Cheyenne Frontier Days. And I never turned down an opportunity to photograph military aircraft. But when we got there, it was when all of the smoke was just, the smoke in the sky was brutal. It was not a complete waste of time, but there was really very few good images, given that the Thunderbirds are a white plane and the sky was basically smoke. But we decided to go into Cheyenne and have lunch, which is also important, part of our ritual. And we spent probably hour and a half, 2 hours in Cheyenne. And this was in Cheyenne, right up next to the train depot that's in downtown Cheyenne. And I got at least 4 or 5 of some of the most fun favorite images that I got this whole summer.
Oh, cool.
Walking around downtown Cheyenne on what I had considered to be a bust of the original reasoning that we went there. Anyway, thank you, Brian, for driving both ways, and it was just a very fun day. Always be open to going, even if you think maybe the weather or the lighting isn't going to be just right. There's usually something else fun to get.
A drowsy morning on purple prairie clover. This is from Joy Lindholm.
Joy's not here, but I'm accepting on her behalf. You're going to get tired of me. Joy is I'm her mentor, and she has gotten a 10 on an image every single month that she's been in the club, which is 4, 5, 6 months, and I'm taking full credit.
I love it.
Because all the months that she got 10s, I got 8s, and that is true. And I was getting a little sick and tired of it, quite frankly. But
sharing all your secrets, Todd.
By the way, I think all of her images she submitted this year have been in either her front yard or her backyard. And I forgot to ask her if this was in her front yard or backyard, but I think it was.
She's got some notes on this image.
Okay. Please.
She said, this is a golden northern bumblebee that I found in our garden, resting one morning in June on our purple prairie clover. I was grateful that the bee was barely moving, as usually bumblebees are a fast-moving target. And she said this was a single exposure image, so it's not stacked or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it say the focal length, like the EXIF data? Like, was it like a 50 millimeter, like a 1.4 or something, like really, really a lot of depth of field here.
This was shot on a Canon EOS 90D. She's using a 100 millimeter macro lens.
Yeah.
It was at 400th of a second at 5.6.
There you go. There's that kind of depth of field we were talking about too, that you were mentioning.
Water tower at Amachi. This is Ben Hernandez.
Yeah, this shot, I was able to be part of a film crew filming a documentary at Amachi. I don't know if you folks know what happened there, but I was really moved. I had no idea that Colorado hosted a concentration camp, for lack of a better word. They call it something else, but Anyway, one of the things that surprised me about this place is that among all the stuff that was there, they managed to have this very colorful water tower, and it's been restored apparently to the original colors of what was there during
Oh, cool.
the time the camp was open. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, the symmetry of it, thinking about all the different planes here and the lines and everything it's so straight, yet, you took it from a bit of a perspective. A really cool shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ben, did you learn about that through the Colorado History Museum? I seem to remember they had something about it.
Yeah,
Or
they so
newsletter
the
or
one of
something?
the yeah, I don't know if you've seen the film they're playing the Colorado History Museum that it's from Eleni Sklavenitis. She was the director that I was working for. She's doing a second documentary on Amachi. So she's also the director for the Amachi Foundation. But yeah, really interesting stuff. And as I said, really, really shocking once you get uh, that level learning what was going on. It's anyway, I was very overwhelmed that day.
Yeah, it was a painful part of history, I'm sure. And Upon a Red Flower. This is from Laura Blake. I don't believe Laura is here on Zoom. She's got a bunch of notes that she left me with. The Butterfly Pavilion in Westminster has over 2,000 butterflies at any one time. I find the lighting in the building very challenging and fun. As the clouds move outside to block the sun, the lighting inside is constantly changing. I used a 100 millimeter macro lens and a speedlight flash because butterflies don't mind the light because they don't see well. And the pavilion welcomes flash only in the butterfly area.
Very cool.
And yeah, I was out there a number of years ago, and
Yeah.
yeah, every shot I took inside there was with flash with a diffuser,
Yeah.
and I got some really nice images.
Well, excellent. Not even knowing that, but now knowing that, that's another cool, well, that's the cool thing about all of these photographs, to be honest, Carl. It's like the backstory to each one of them.
Yeah.
It really is. So this here, one thing I was thinking, looking at it again, and this would be, just thinking about like a little tone curve. It would kind of make things pop a little bit more, just a little bit, but that's again a personal thing. Beautiful
Yeah,
photo.
just a subtle change. Yeah. All right, Bob, you want to try and get that one
Yes.
image that we missed? And
While we're waiting for,
sure.
unless there's anything else that we want to talk about with photographs, but I guess I could take this opportunity while just to talk about cheeseburgers,
Okay.
you know? So there's obviously different levels of cheeseburgers, right? Because you've got the basket burger, you've got the plate burger, you've got, the fancy burger, you've got all kinds of different levels. So it's kind of tough, but at the same time, it makes it kind of fun. But like, if anyone's ever been to the Candlelight here in kind of more central Denver, they've got a great little basket burger. And if you're a Lions fan, you can't even barely stand in there on a Sunday. Obviously, like there's another little place that's in my neighborhood up here in like Wash Park area that's it's called Lincoln's Roadhouse. It's kind of it's a little dive. It's been there forever. It's been there for such a long time, but it's like
I've been there a whole bunch of times.
oh man. And
Yeah.
every time it's delicious, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's really good.
It's
They
great.
got
Like,
good Cajun stuff too.
oh, that's what I was gonna say. When I go in there, I'm torn because their cheeseburger is fantastic, but their po' boys, their sandwiches are like they're oh gosh. So that's kind of a place where you can go and have a little bit of anxiety. You can go for that 9.5, if you will, and not know what to do. But then on a fancy burger, but I mean everyone knows about the cherry cricket and like some of these others like that, I guess. But like Hillstone. Um, Hillstone or the Cherry Creek Grill has a delicious burger, but it's a little more spendy. If anyone's ever been to either of those, but they just have a classic, just delicious cheeseburger. But when I started going there years ago, it was $12 for the burger, and now I think it's like 22 or 24 for the cheeseburger, which is a little bit obscene.
Wow.
Yeah. A little bit crazy.
Is that like on a golden crusted bun or something?
No, but they do put a little bit of they dust it. They must dust it with something. A little bit of gold.
So where in town is the, classic American smash burger with the onions and all that?
Yeah. So what's funny is there's this brewery that's Denver Beer Co. Uh, they've got one of those just delicious in-house made pickles. I Vesper Grill too. The Vesper, that's like a Frank Bonanno place. He's got Luca. He used to have Vesper Dipping Grill, whatever, but now it's Mizuna over there. Like, but like the Denver Beer Co. has this like little double patty burger that they do their own pickles, they do their onions, they have a burger sauce, and it's like $10. And I don't know. It's one of my top favorites. Just kind of the smash style. Everything about it is so good.
Is that the one in downtown Littleton?
Well, they probably have it there, but I live here in West Wash Park, so like the one I'll go to is right off Downing, kind of south of I-25. Um, but any Denver Beer Co. I think would have the same cheeseburger. Yeah, and it's just like it's like a perfect little size as well.
Let me just pop up this image. We've got one image that we
Oh,
missed at the beginning.
if you've got it, then we could just talk about it.
Yep.
And then, yeah, he comes back. All notes could be relayed. Oh, this is the one. Yes. Sorry, this was in my slides. And yeah, looking at it, I was kind of thinking like, I was looking forward to talking about this. And I was going to give this one a 10 because I love the colors. Yeah. So, I love the colors, the architecture, the train, kind of everything about it. And I wanted to know where this was as well. Is this down in River North area? It's just because I've never been. And this is a really cool building.
Well, once you finish critiquing, we will
Okay.
definitely
Okay. Sorry. So what I loved about it was like, yeah, sorry. Kind of the deconstructed nature of this, having kind of the insides with the out, but the colors of it. And on my screen here, it's so much more vibrant and true to life than versus Zoom. The golds, the blues, the oranges, architecturally, I just thought it was a really cool photograph, really cool. Like one that the designers and such would be proud of, I would think. So great job on the crop, just getting rid of stuff. So all in all, I was going to give this one a 10. Lines being straight too. That's another thing.
All right. Well, One River North is from Todd Lyle. Todd, you want to tell us all about this beautiful image?
Todd, you got a 10.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good job.
I'm taking you out for a burger. Like,
all right. Well, then you're going to take me to the grill because I'm going to take advantage here.
yeah. Oh, no, I can't do Hudson's. Not doing that. But yeah, anywhere else. Candlelight.
All right.
I'm up.
Hey, Carl.
All right. This is it's just being finished. I think some people are living there. This was taken a few months ago with one of my I have another mentee student and or club member. And we were mostly down around Confluence Park, but right just at sunset, we drove over. This is these are luxury apartments. The architect is Mad Architects out of Beijing, China, if you can believe that. They do have offices in LA. They're known for some pretty crazy stuff. The penthouse apartments in this building are renting for like $12,000 to $15,000 a month. It's a very, you either love it or hate it. Some people don't like the architecture. It reminds me a lot of Gaudi and some of his architecture that's over 100 years old and in Barcelona. It kind of there's some live greenery and things that are going to be growing in the middle there. And then the train just happened to be going by. We were this is Laura Hudson and I were standing there. And no sooner did I take this picture than a security officer came over to tell me that I was standing on federal property, and if I didn't move in about 10 seconds, he was going to arrest me. Anyway, it's just an interesting place. It's really weird that people would pay this much money to live here. There are no fewer than three train tracks running in front of it. That is the rail line. I think that particular train is the A line that runs out to DIA from,
Oh, wow.
from what am I trying to
Yeah.
say? Union Station.
Union. Yeah.
But there's three other train lines there too. This is like a major rail yard I'm standing in the middle of, Union Central Rail Yard, and all these people paying this money get to listen to these diesel locomotives day and night, and they are noisy. So
Yeah.
I don't get it, but it's an interesting addition to the skyline for sure. It's at
For sure.
30, put it in the minute. It's at 3800 or 3900 Blake Street. And so you can go there. There's restaurants and bars in the area.
I like it. And it made me think of Gaudi stuff as well when I saw it.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool building. How long did you have to wait for the train to get there?
It was an absolute, complete, and total accident. And I do mean that. I probably shot 20 images just from slightly different positions and whatnot. And I think this train was in two of them. And it had the red and the yellow in it. I just, sometimes it's better to be lucky than talented.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, that is our final image. Now that we finally got it.
Nice
All right,
work.
Bob, I think you missed it. You kind of were in and out, but I just shared the image off of my screen for Todd's final image, and Joseph gave it a 10, so we're all squared away. We're all set.
I appreciate that.
So, Joseph, do you have any final words of wisdom you'd like to impart on the group before we call it an evening?
No, I mean, just looking at the images, like I said, I was really in a positive commentary and a positive note. I was just really impressed by the work that, your group, your crew is putting together. Really pretty, pretty photographs, but also like some striking, really good stuff. Truly all of them. So I would just say, like was mentioned tonight, like you never know what the conditions are going to be like, what the light might be like. You just kind of always got to go. It's always fun. And even if you don't get anything, you've gotten out. But again, thanks for having me tonight, and Carl reaching out, asking if I was available. I'm glad that it worked out with both of our schedules.
Right. Yeah, me too. I know that you're off to a workshop this weekend, and
Yep.
that you could squeeze us in.
Yep. Perfect. Well, looking forward to being in touch in the future for future discussions as well. Keep me on the list, the short list.
Absolutely. We'll hopefully see you next year.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, exactly. We're kind of winding down. I sometimes lose track. So here we go into Thanksgiving and the holiday season. So
Exactly.
everybody have a good one of those.
So Joseph, I gotta say, I was looking at your website and you have one image of a castle in Scotland. It's the castle, I cannot remember the name of it. It's a castle that it's right before the bridge to the Isle of Skye.
Yep.
You made me so jealous. Now I have to go back to Scotland to retake that picture that I took because it's nowhere even close to being good like yours. So loved it.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Thank you. Well, there we go. Now, I'm going to go take pictures of flowers, and, we can trade. We can be, I'll take you there. You go there. You can show me how you did this lighting on this, your flowers in the vase.
Deal.
But, well, thanks so much. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Glad that we can make these connections for people. It's great.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, everyone, y'all have a good night. Enjoy, and I will see you all again on the next time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you one more time, Joseph. We really appreciate all your commentary, all your critiques of the images and scoring. We appreciate you being available for us. And I think that's the end of it, folks. So everybody have a good evening.